Welcome in, everyone. RFK Refugees Podcast, the last regular official. We'll get into some of the news later we got, but the last regular official. We're here to close out the 2025 season, the widely successful, completely 100%, like absolutely every single target hit. It's great. It was awesome. No one will tell me otherwise. 2025 season. We took a little break. I think DC United also was ready for a little break as well. At least two players on the team were certainly ready to just be done with the season, and likewise just exited stage left before the last game of the season. But John, how you doing, my friend? How was your break? It's been a while since we've talked. So
it has been a while. I don't even know. I went to CNU homecoming, which was fun for me. I got to watch them just mollywop somebody 49-0, and they were up 42 at half. So nice. That was enjoyable. I got to see that.
Nice.
What else has happened since then? I don't know. I've just been working, doing my thing. We were discussing the AWS outage this morning. Wow, both of us, probably less than some other people, but certainly was an annoying morning at work. What about you? What's been up with you?
Not much, man. I
went refereeing.
Refereeing. Did a trip out to Colorado, Telluride, Colorado, for a cousin's wedding, and that was a lot of fun. Got to hike up the Bridal Veil Falls Trail. If you ever check it out, there's like these three like really beautiful waterfalls, and it makes the mountains in Virginia certainly are smaller than out west.
For sure.
It's definitely. It's a different experience. It's a different experience doing that. So
it's too early for skiing up out there, right? No snow yet on the mountains.
No. There was snow on the mountain, like on the very tip, like tippy tops. You could like see it, like the peaks of the mountains. You could see it. But yeah, there was no snow to do any skiing at that point. It was still too warm. But we kind of hit it like it was like almost like 60s, 70s, like when we got there, and then like literally as the week progressed, it's like descended into fall. So like the trees were starting to change color. It was all really beautiful. But
you were there on the cusp.
Yeah.
Well, good timing for a wedding then to hit it right then. I found out today that I'm going to be doing lobbying in West Virginia next session, and I was like, cool. I'm adjacent. I'm in Virginia. How far could that be? That'll be a nice, convenient thing. It's speaking of like small Virginia mountains, it's a 5.5 hour drive to Charleston, West Virginia. I was like, okay, I'll just fly. And there's only one direct flight from any of the local airports. And it means that, and the timing of it means that like every time it'll be at least a 2-day trip. So I thought of the mountains. I was like, I would like to drive there, but I would not like to have to drive back. So I would have to get like a one-way rental and then a flight.
It probably literally exists just to transport the congressmen and senators in DC out to West Virginia.
Right. I think you're definitely right. That's why his face? The senator Manchin used to live in a houseboat because he didn't want to go back to his state during the recess because it's so hard to get there. I wouldn't. Maybe I need a houseboat. Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah, maybe that's the answer. Win the lottery. Maybe DC United will be good next year, and we'll actually make enough money on the show to.
So we should put all of our Patreon plus a second mortgage on our house, all on DC United winning MLS Cup. The odds will be plus 150 million, and then that's it. Houseboats for everybody.
That's it. Let's get into it. Let's talk DC United, and you gave me the whole rundown.
Well, how about we say this? The thing that's most important is that we won hardware.
Yes.
What's that hardware, you ask? It's a giant wooden spoon. And we won the wooden spoon. We're the worst team in MLS. No one can take that away from us. We win trophies, and this technically kind of counts as a trophy. So you got to take that, put it in your hat.
1-1 draw to Atlanta. In Atlanta, Atlanta also looking very sad. It's weird, like the dichotomy of these two clubs. Like this is DC United is a team that literally like sabotaged their 2025 season. One designated player, Christian Benteke, they literally gave the other designated player over to this Atlanta United team, and like the expectations for Atlanta were sky high. They signed Locke Locke, who was like lighting up the championship. They brought back Miggy Amarone, who, of course, helped them win his first trophy, coming off, Premiership side Newcastle. And then they had Miracek, who had, some ups and downs to start the year, but still seemed like he could be a really talented player. Like the stage was set for this team to like
Ronnie
be
Delia?
back. Yeah, Ronnie Delia, the MLS Cup winning coach for the New York City FC, and then just to watch them just like face plant. Like I tried to figure out like what's more like, is it more embarrassing to be going through what we're going through right now, or is it more embarrassing to be going through what Atlanta's going right now? Because they went all out this year and spent money, and it cost Ronnie Delia his job.
There's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to be horrible in MLS. We found. I think it's worse to be us because Arthur Blank will forget this year happened. He'll authorize whatever the money is again. He'll go fix the roster. They will just keep reloading. They'll just keep putting quarters in the machine until it comes good again. There's no spending is no guarantee of success, but the ability to spend without error, like without fault, without ending. With Garth Lagerwey had a bad season, I guess, in selections, but you trust him that it'll come good if he has another chance to take a run at everything. So I would much rather be them, for sure. It would be probably very frustrating to be them this year, but I think next year I'd rather be them.
Yeah, I think from a pure, and yes, they got rid of the coach. For all we know, I mean, Garth Lagerwey is still going to be there. He's still one of the premier.
If not, let's get him. Let's trade. Let's get him in there if he's not going to be back.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would take him in a heartbeat over Mr. writes a novel, writes novels in his spare time and is an agent, I guess. I mean, that's the thing. Arthur Blank will spend the money. He will be the type of guy. He'll say those 2 contract buyouts. Who do you want to get rid of? Let's cut bait whoever we want, and let's go get who we actually think will work well for this team. But it is kind of interesting just watching these 2 teams, and you're watching this game, and the game was very even keeled. Obviously, Miggy Amarone was sort of a nice goal right off the bat, and then Gabriel Pirani sort of tying it up kind of later towards the second half, but. These 2 teams were pretty much evenly matched. There wasn't much sort of separating them on the field. It's just kind of funny to watch this team that literally had maybe a half to a third of the value of the roster in front of it, and they were both competing to see who would win, who would lose, and therefore win the wooden spoon. So it was kind of interesting. I don't know if we really have much to break down. I don't know if there's anything like groundbreaking or new that we have learned in these past few games.
Other than to say Gabriel Pirani scored more goals than Miguel Amarone for Atlanta. So that's cool.
I believe, yeah, we had our Mr. Brendan. Was it Brendan Cartwright who posted?
I was going to steal that stat, but no, that was Brendan. Brendan is the noticer of stats. He saw that. So yeah, I don't think there's much to say other than it's finally done. This team has been, I feel like the short term new coach bounce, like the sort of intensity and positivity ran out of juice. I think they probably just wanted to get to the end of the season at that point. I think the big loss, was it 7-1? Was that the final score?
Yeah, or
most recent one.
No, 7-0. I think, wasn't it?
I think that might have been I think that might have been the real end of the season, and then they were just trying to get through the rest of it. Jordan Farr doing his best to get MLS appearances. And got his first point, maybe? Is this his first MLS point?
Yeah.
Good for him. He had a lot of saves. He was doing good back there.
Yeah, made some nice saves. I think he's a guy, he'll be cheap. You'll probably see him back next year. I mean, he's under contract, so kind of has to be.
You will see him. So before we move on, so I think what we wanted to do is sort of look at this. We've been doing it for a while now. This will be the final official roster breakdown of the year. But before they do that, I want to loop back on something that we talked about now over a month ago, and sort of give you the background on what happened and where things are and how I feel about it. So you'll notice this show has been on forever, 400 and something episodes. I think that even might be light. I think it might be over that. But we've been doing this for years and years and years and years and years and years. And we used to get a lot of interviews of DC United players, of Washington Spirit players. We interviewed Hernan Losada. We've interviewed multiple coaches of the Spirit, I believe. We've done all that. We've been doing that for a while. I think some of them better than others. Andy Sullivan has been on the show like 7 times, and we love that. And we stopped at a certain point. We stopped doing that because, truthfully, we've talked to everybody that we wanted to talk to, and there wasn't much more to say. And also, truly, to give you a peek behind the curtain, there wasn't a big difference in our listenership numbers from week to week when we have an interview on and not. And it's not easy. Like Ted and I both work. These interviews happen. Don't listen. If anybody who's employing us, don't listen. Happen sometimes during the day. That's the only time you can get them done. So we just kind of pulled away and stopped doing it. We figured it doesn't really matter to our listeners so much. And it's one less heavy load that we've got to carry. And then earlier in September, I think on the 12th, I got approached by DC United and said, hey, we really want you to interview the owners. And we said, all right, well, that would be something interesting. That's something we haven't done. And we certainly have a lot to say. And I said, yeah, we would be willing to do that. I want you to understand that this will not be a pat, easy interview. We will be asking questions that we think need answers. We have our constituency is the fans, and not just the fans, but the hardcore fans, the people who have been in this for a long, long, long time and who are severely disappointed. The amount of people who listen to our show who have told Ted and I that they are done, and it's done. They've canceled their season tickets. They're not coming back. You cannot convince them otherwise. It's a lot. All those people, I feel like most of those people listen to us. So that was where we're coming from. I was like, listen, we've always been fair. We've always been even-handed. We're not trying to make anyone look bad on purpose. But we're going to ask these questions. And it was like, cool, no problem. Let's get this scheduled. We get it scheduled. The GM gets fired. We say, okay, we're going to reschedule. And now it's October 20th, and we've not talked to them, and I don't think we're going to talk to them. At this point, I don't care. There's nothing else to say. They've done print interviews. They've done TV interviews. They've done audio interviews. Nothing else to say. Ted and I could probably cross-examine the witness based on things they've said and things they've done, but I don't think there's any purpose anymore. It upset me, and it upset Ted. I don't have to speak for Ted, but it was upsetting to us to sort of we weren't looking for this. We weren't seeking this out because it's something that we had sort of walked away from because, as I said, there wasn't really a benefit to us. But it would have been a good opportunity for them, to be honest with you. It would have been a great opportunity for ownership to correct, or at least begin to correct, the damage that's been done. And I think doing this and then not following up and not circling back and not getting on our books makes it even worse. I don't want to talk to him anymore. I don't think there's any point in it. And he had, and sorry, this is a long monologue. I apologize for that, but there are valid questions about why should we trust you? What are your plans? Why do we why would we invest our time and money in this club until you're gone, unless you can do X, Y, and Z? Prove to me you understand it. Prove to Ted that you left $1 million on the table because of roster classification, because of bad decisions you made. Be honest, be forthright, disclose that information. Maybe the PR department would not want that, and I don't blame them, I guess, but I think that the real value here, the only way out for you with this group of people, is to just say, you're right. I screwed up. I made mistakes. I've made bad choices in hiring. I made bad choices in intervening in this roster when I shouldn't have. I don't know what I'm doing. You could say a lot of things. The only way back is honesty. That's the only way back. And they don't want to do it. And even when they try to be honest, as we've seen, they're not. It's not honesty. It's inconsistent. It's inconsistent within the same interview. In the beginning of an interview, they'll say, I made a mistake by sort of getting too involved in micromanaging a general manager, and then at the end of the interview saying, I'm going to get more hands-on in selection. We're going to fill this roster up. So I want to say I'm sorry, because I went on here and I said, this is going to happen. We have assurances. We're going to have it's going to go to the Patreons first, and then it didn't happen, and it wasn't our fault, but it happened, and I won't do that again. I think Ted was like, why don't we record this first before we say we have it? And that probably was smart. We probably should have done that. But that's where we are. That's why you never heard it. That's why you're never going to hear it. And That's all I have to say about that.
And I want to be clear, this is nothing, they're immediate. There are people within the organization that we went through. This is not their fault. And I think it's telling of the organization and what we've heard, if we pay attention to a lot of the Discord channels, and again, these are not confirmed sources, but the organization as a whole and the ownership group as a whole is pretty much flying off the handle, and nothing they have done within the past few months has given me any semblance that they get it or that they understand it, because they're still doing things like announcing, oh, we're going to have an MLS Next Pro team we're going to partner with. We'll announce that in a couple days, and we're now sitting end of the season, no announcement. We've heard reports that the ownership is basically moving faster than the organization can sort of get their arms around what exactly is going on. It is the same. You look at the decisions that have happened on the field. You look at everything that has happened on the field. I was not when they said they were going to give us the interview, and they wanted it to be in person, and I was like, I live in Richmond. He lives in Fredericksburg. We're busy. I was trying to figure out a way to do it. I was like, I don't think we do. Let's see if they can, a Zoom interview would be better, I think, from a number of reasons, like trying to my biggest fear was that we would get there and we would try to do it and it wouldn't work, and it would look worse than it actually was. So I was like, we know we can do it over Zoom, a controlled interview. And then once they pulled it out, I was like, we're not going to get this. Like, I completely lost all hope. You look at the interview, and the Fox 5 interview is the most embarrassing, rather than, you want to sit, I guess, with a TV partner that is, broadcasting your games and doing all of that, but they didn't even bother to grab somebody who might know a little bit about the team. I'll never forget the most embarrassing part of that interview was when they asked about the beer snake, which is something that happens at Defenders games, and just like the most embarrassing moment about it, because it's not something that happens at DC games. Not much happening in the supporter section at DC games, but it was sort of like an encompassing fact of like just how irrelevant that the sort of second spring football team has done more relevant things than your entire organization in the past few years. So yeah, it's upsetting. It's not really surprising. Bear Witness asked a serious question: what would it take for you to buy season tickets in 2026? This team could go out in January. They could go buy Mo Salah. They could go buy Virgil van Dijk, players I love from watching my days at Liverpool. They could go out and, go grab Firmino from, I don't know where he's playing right now. Another player I remember from Liverpool. Nothing would convince me that this team, I want to see, I want more than just a bunch of players, which is probably what's going to happen, is they're going to bring in a bunch of talent, a bunch of DPs. That's what they say they want to do. And nothing would convince me that this organization has learned any lessons. They are completely starting back from square one. We'll get through the club roster profiles. They have a lot of players now that are under contract. I would have been happier if they had just said, if they had looked at this honestly and looked at this set and said, look, like, yes, maybe we made a mistake hiring Ali Mackay. Maybe we give him another year to fix this, because at the very least, we're not then throwing another GM into a situation where it's going to take us another year to dig out of this. And then the next year is going to be the year that's going to be the good year. And then you're just, it's been a vicious cycle, and nothing they've done so far has shown me that they've learned any lessons. And that's the biggest problem. That's what's so frustrating when you hear these owners talk. It's like you don't get any inkling that they have learned any lessons. They have literally just like doing exactly. They think, no, we're doing this right. Like we're just hiring the wrong people. That's the only thing. That's the only thing they've admitted, is that Ali Mackay wasn't the right guy. We wish him the best. The coach wasn't the right guy. I wish him the best. We're going to bring these two people in, but it's not like, hey, maybe if you make a bad decision, you let that run its course, because then at the very least you say, okay, that was a bad decision. And particularly too, if you were going to hire a coach that was only coaching, I think, a second top level MLS team, and a GM who had never been in the role previously, who had never done the role.
What did you think? Did you think that they wouldn't have a learning curve? Did you think that they would hit the ground running right away? They're not possible.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of GMs that do step into the first role, and it's like they hit right away. I think Ali Mackay had a very mixed handling. I also think he had his hand tied behind his back. So again, it's always like I have no doubt Ali Mackay is going to go. I don't know if he'll get a GM role. He's going to go on to some other organization and be wildly successful. If there's anything we've seen with this organization is that maybe with the exception of Hernan Losada, coaches leave and they go on and they find other roles and they end up being very, very successful. So they should
Last
be
thing.
now.
Ali Mackay, bad choice because he wasn't experienced enough and didn't have the right choice. So what do? You hire the author agent who has never done this before and has never worked at a club before and isn't even located here. So if we are to follow the logic and say that the issue was that we made the wrong decision, and really the profile of the decision, not necessarily the people, because he talked about experience, and then you do this. You hire a coach with lots of experience and you hire a GM with none. And being an agent, being a podcast host, which he also is, and a YouTube channel guy, that doesn't count. I'm sorry. That is not translatable experience. So once again, for I don't trust you is not having a coherent explanation for your choices. I don't care that I don't care. We'll move on.
The biggest thing, here's the thing. Sogert could come in here and actually be decent at this. That could absolutely happen. Right now, though, this team has learned there's no benefit of the doubt. There's no way you can say that this team has gained any sort of benefit of the doubt that they can make a move like this, hire a GM like this. And, if Seattle went out and did this, if LAFC went out and did this, if, maybe even Kansas City, if any other MLS organization, really any other MLS organization went out and did this, successful one, I should add, you would say, okay, well, they've earned some benefit out. Maybe they see something in this guy. They've made a lot of good decisions in the past. There has been no decision, major decision, I will say, probably since signing Wayne Rooney or bringing in Lucho Acosta, that gives you any sort of sense that this organization has earned any sort of benefit of the doubt. And that's the biggest problem. It's a lack of trust. And that's why I don't care who they sign. They could go and pry Messi from frickin' Miami for some reason.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe they get him drunk one night and have him sign a contract. I don't know. I don't know. But there's nothing in this organization. And the biggest thing is now everybody's jumping ship. I don't know what the state of the academy is. We'll get to a player that they're signing to. I don't know what the state, like the scouting department's gone. Everything's gone now. It's like you're starting back from square zero. You're in the exact same spot you were last year, or not last year, end of 2023. It's like the cycle. It's like cycling through. All right. Should we get into the roster news?
Roster profile. All right. So we've done.
Well, let's talk about let's. I do want to bring this player up.
Sure.
We got Oscar. We do have a 15-year-old player, Oscar Alvarez, homegrown player, signed. I was trying to do some research. Like, is he he's obviously born in Honduras. Parents immigrated, 15 years old. So certainly DC United trying to tout like, oh, we have this homegrown player. He has played for the U.S. under 16 national team. So certainly a player, and I do trust Roach, who says he's a good player. He could certainly play. Brendan Cright says, so what do you expect Oscar Alvarez saw as a development plan good enough to get him to sign?
Depends on how close it was to the 48 hours to the MLS Next Pro thing being announced. He might have been at that meeting and was like, okay, I'll sign. Maybe they've got to have something. It's good. There has to be something in place for sure.
I think it is. I think it is more. He's 15 years old. The team is like, you're good enough. We're going to give you a professional contract. This is what he wants to do. He gets that sort of that step. I think it's kind of fitting that they are offering this contract to somebody who's 15 years old. It's probably going to be 2-3 years before maybe he even breaks the first team as far as a roster. I don't think if you are a player who is 16, 17, or 18, you are looking at DC United right now. I think DC got him in when he was young, wanted to say he's good right away. A lot of other players, they might wait till 16, 17, or 18, and by then they've already sort of been through the system. They've maybe got other offers out there. They may have already been grabbed by Philly or by other players, by other organizations that have much better youth development programs right now than we do. So I think that's more of the case. They're willing to offer him a pro contract at 15. I don't think anybody else was willing to do that at this point. So I think he went with it.
At just 15 years old, our focus will be on protecting Oscar's development and surrounding him with the right tools, people, and structure to ensure his long-term success. Based on what? Based on why should we believe? Like what? Who are you to put together the right structure for someone's long-term success?
I mean, the interesting thing, Kevin Flanagan's still the listed as the DC United director of academy and player development, so he's still. And also to say, we'd like to thank Virginia Rush Soccer Club for the important role they played in Oscar's development.
Because DC United has only had this player for 11 months, so he's not an academy success story. He is. I mean, I guess when you're 14 to 15 and you're already making the choice that he's a player to sign, that's something, I suppose. You've done something in the year to sort of bring him along to that point. But great for him. Glad that he's in the youth national team setup. Boy, would I love a place to know where he's going to be going, along with Gavin Turner. I'm sure we'll get that news eventually, just longer than 48 hours. But that's good news. And we also know a little bit of news that this team will be playing in the Coachella preseason tournament, which beats the pants off of going to Saudi Arabia. So that's good. Most of MLS and half of NWSL will be there. So that's cool. Good for them. I think we'll probably be able to watch it. Maybe we'll be able to watch it online.
Yeah,
it's possible.
We'll see.
That's always the joke, but maybe it'll actually happen. But maybe
apparently Sebi blowtorched the ownership on blowtorched on Football Americas. We'll have to go check that out.
We'll have to check that out and share it on whatever clips we find. We'll share it on social.
Yeah,
man. Right. I think if there's a one person who's earned the right to do that, that'd be him.
He does it on a regular basis too.
He does. All right. So who the hell is this roster going to be next year? Let's go through it. We've done this a bunch of times, but let's do it one more time. We'll start at the bottom of the roster instead of starting at the top. We usually start at the top. We'll save the top for the end. Players who are, it's funny because this was obviously doesn't get updated in the middle of the year. So Fidel Barajas is still on here. So he is obviously already gone.
Are you looking at the September?
Was there a September one? No, send me that.
There is a September one. Yes, I will send you that. I'll start while you get that up. Rita Zohir is the actual last player on the list. I would say see ya. Yeah, I don't think he even make an appearance for.
I think he did. DC. I think he was like an 87th minute substitute one time.
Yeah. Gavin Turner, actually a MLS player who made the playoffs, made the MLS Next playoffs. I think they got dumped out 2-0 by Huntsville. So had some semi bright moments for Chattanooga while he played. Was a fixture kind of in the starting lineup. I think had a couple assists, a couple goals. I watched one game, I think, where he played, and he was definitely given sort of a free role. Did not look out of place. He is certainly a talented player to watch in the future. The question is going to be what is his development going to look like? How is it going to serve the team? And will he be on the roster? Will he be on an MLS Next roster with whatever agreement or deal that they have? Who knows at this point?
Feels like it would be a flaw in roster construction to be expecting anything out of him major in the 2026 season right off the bat. He's not ready. Probably not ready.
Garrison Tubbs next on the list.
So his contract expires at the end of this year. We've got team options. I think they'll probably pick up the team options. I would assume, at least for maybe, I don't know if you do them for both or just one. I'm not sure. He spent one game on loan with Loudoun United, and then he spent the rest of the season and is still there now with Loudoun. I think that he was He was not sharp for much of the time when he was with DC United. I think the beginning of the year he had a short run of competence where you thought that he was going to be in the mix for rotation, and then he really got only in the rotation due to injury when we had center back suspensions or anything like that. I think that there's probably the fact that he still counts as a homegrown player for roster purposes means I probably think they hold on to him because I don't think they have a lot of people knocking down that door that they want to make space for in that. So probably keep him. Probably pick up the rosters.
I'm just looking. I'm like, well, was he actually getting minutes? I guess he was. Looks like he was picked up. He was picking up some minutes, so he was getting some opportunities for the team. Obviously, he'll be another player who will make the playoffs because, funny enough, Loudoun United qualified for the USL postseason, but in true dysfunctional fashion, apparently this will be Ryan Martin's last year, which is just.
I hope he wins the trophy and gives him the bird on the way out.
Yeah, it's just he finally gets a team that's good enough. He finally makes a run. They're solidly 4th or 5th considering everything surrounding this year. And then apparently like it was like the Pittsburgh game was like the game. It was like, well, you need to win this or otherwise you're out. Or maybe it was Charleston. I can't remember. One of the teams that's in black and gold. I can't remember the one of the two. Just wild type stuff. I don't know. Maybe he goes on a run. Maybe he saves his job. We love Ryan Martin is one of the guys that we love here on the show.
Yep.
So yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
What do you bet, Tubbs?
I don't know, to be honest. I considering the dysfunction right now with the organization, I think you're right. I think the homegrown thing might save him. It's basically a free player. Yeah. Okay. I'm back on it. Yeah. I think it's why not. I think if you're smart enough as an organization, you kind of see that.
Were you going to say because of the fact that this was a Mackay sort of machination to acquire this player on draft day, that's why they may be like, well, we don't not necessarily subscribe to whatever.
I think it's more maybe. I think you have an organization. I think the biggest thing that worries me is, and I guess maybe Dave Casper is still there, so maybe he's the guy who can sort of sell the importance of like, hey, this is a free player basically. Like this guy doesn't count against your cap. It doesn't count against anything. Like this is like a player to keep. Maybe he can bang the drum, but I just like wouldn't put it past this organization as dysfunctional as they are, saying, oh no, we this player's not good enough. We need players that are good enough. We're gonna get rid of him. So
next up, Jacob Merrill, who has a contract through next year, so he'll be back. What do you think about his season?
Obviously he's up for goal of the year with his goal against probably the one sort of shining moment of the season with that sort of bicycle kick. I think he kind of is at the sort of same level. It's really hard to judge a lot of these players because of just how because of kind of just like how poor the whole season went, and even when they're like good moments, it's like everything's just being kind of tugged down with this player. I think he'll get his opportunities next season. I think the biggest thing for him is we see flashes that show he can be like a good striker, maybe a good like inverted winger in this league. The problem is like that next step, that step up that you see and that you want to see in a player is always what's missing for him. It's always like it's never consistent enough. Jose Kojima,
I think.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say for Merle, I think it's his best season without a doubt, but he will always be my needs an MLS Next Pro or a loan because he needs minutes to grow, and he just wasn't really getting them. He got more of them this season, but he had long periods of either injury or being on the sidelines. So, Jose Kojima, I am not a huge fan of Kojima's game, and I think that the amount of minutes he got should be going to somebody else that profiles as a more. I just don't. I couldn't tell you his game in the best way he contributes to this roster. Hard to project again, like you said, based on how bad this team was and the fact that we had different coaches this year and different things were asked of them. But I think a player who was acquired for $400,000 in GAM and then instantly became an integral part of the lineup and then didn't anymore. I think there's something to be said about moving on from him at the end. It depends on how much turnover you want to do in this roster. I think if Rene Weiler's not going to be here for a long time, don't kid yourself. So if he wants to put his stamp on the roster, he's going to do it very, very quickly. Because he's just not a long time guy. So I would say Kajima didn't get a lot of minutes in the back half of this
towards
season.
The end. Yep,
something to look at.
I think he was a player that fit. He's a
Troy guy,
Troy Lesesne's style, and that's when we saw him play his best. When Troy Lesesne was the coach, the pressing, the sort of interruption, the sort of quick movement, and then as we shifted to where we were giving up too many goals, and that changed a lot of his role, and he faded very, very quickly. It went from a player who I thought was a great steal pick to guy, I'm not so sure. So I will agree. I think they will not exercise the option on his contract. I think he will be waived at the beginning of the year. Could be wrong. Who the heck knows? Hakeem Karamoko, contract through 2027. I expect him to be back. I think there's I think it's going to be a question too. Again, can he get a loan out to somewhere? I think he picked up an injury, so it was just kind of tough goings there.
He doesn't even seem USC League Championship tier to me. He had 19 possible games, only appeared in 7, no goals, 1 assist. I thought he got a red card. It's showing only 2 yellow cards. I thought he did not look very good. We could certainly talk to Loudon fans who are following more closely. I don't see it there, to be honest with you.
I could see the team, if the team does not think he is good enough, shopping him around to another organization that maybe has an MLS Next Pro roster, next pro team, and taking a second, third round draft pick, maybe $50K in GAM. I could see something like that happening with him.
Hey, we'll be picking at the front of every round, so it's a good time to be. It's a good place to be. Jackson Hopkins, Fredericksburg's own, had a monster season for him. This is put himself on the map. I think this is awesome. I think he is once again being seen as a more attacking player, as a wing player like he was originally under Hernan Losada and also in his academy days. I still don't know what his best position is, and I don't know that the team... I don't know that... I can't imagine a roster construction for this team in 2026 when we start up in what will probably feel like 4 weeks from now. It's so soon after. I can't imagine he's starting in the opener. I just can't imagine it. But maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
I think he benefited from just how certain players I feel like sometimes benefit from when everything is poor and going and badly and the roster construction is kind of a mess and it doesn't really make much sense, because what you saw in his game is he was pressing up high. He was kind of taking the front pressing role, using those legs, and that got him into good spots. That got him into good moments. He was kind of a player that was all over the place, all over the field. I would not be shocked if he had some of the most ground covered of some of the attacking players out there. And I thought that's a role that suited him well. That's also the sign of a team that is very disorganized and doesn't know what they're doing, because they don't have strict sort of, positional structures that they're kind of following. So I think he's got 2 option years, 2026, 2027.
They'll pick them both up.
They'll pick those both up, I imagine. Now the interesting one, Christian Fletcher. Oof. What do you think? Hurt this year. Again, a homegrown player. I think you exercise that option in 2026. I think you see where he is come preseason. Just super unfortunate, man. That guy was thinking he was on his way to Europe, and then just to kind of have it all kind of fall apart.
I think it matters very much where his head's at, because his head's not been in DC for years. He's been wanting out for quite some time. That's what the rumors are, is that his parents and he were like, we're going to Europe. This is happening. Loan us or sell us. We want to go. I think I'm not. Was his knee an ACL? Did they ever really say what it was? I know it was a knee injury, I believe. Probably an ACL. I'm curious, what the recovery window looks like from a timeline. I know that I saw that on Instagram. He was at the DC Power game. I don't know. I think it could go either way. I think, again, with a homegrown player, he still has a designation. I would keep him up.
It's anterior critical, so ACL reconstruction surgery on his right knee after sustaining an injury.
So 6 to 9 months. What's the date on that?
June 25th. So maybe ready.
So he would be back. He would be ready, probably not at the start of the season, but maybe a little bit after.
Yeah.
Sure. I think so. Depending on what the roster does otherwise. He's a young player. What is he like coming back from injury? He may struggle. He may not. He will be cheap. Sure.
Yeah. Also a young guy, so theoretically he can heal a little bit better. Jordan Farr here through 2026. I think we would say probably will be back. Supplemental roster, so he's not going to cost
back to the third
much.
string, I would imagine as well.
Yeah. Now we get to Jared Stroud. 2026. He has a contract through 2026. Good 2025. Or sorry, 2024. Horrible 2025.
Yeah.
I think this is a player. If you're offloading him, you are selling extremely low.
The lowest possible.
50 to 150. If you can get anything like six figures as far as like GAM on this, I think you smack that button. You get rid of that contract. You get rid of that roster slot. You give it to somebody. You give it to somebody else who might need it. Who maybe can elevate your game a little bit more. Definitely a player who was a Troy Lesesne guy, and I think as the team shifted, it really struggled with him. He also was just horribly unlucky, I thought. I don't think he had maybe one assist. I don't think he had a single goal this season. Just like a absolutely horrible season.
I will bet you. I'll bet you that he gets retained for next year because there won't be a lot of suitors, and I bet you he has a better 2026 than a 2025. I bet he has a full off season, comes in healthy, a consistent coach knowing what's being asked of him. I bet he comes. I don't think he matches his 2024 assist machine, putting the ball in Benteke's head over and over again thing. But I bet we see him back and he's fine. That's my bet.
Yeah.
Brandon Cervania under contract next year, so maybe I would say that was a player you and I were both like. It came in at the end. Him and Rita Zohir came in at the very end of the roster, very end of the preseason, after Ted Kudipietro was sent to Colorado. Was there an injury? And the Mateus Click trade maybe would have been around that time as well.
I think it was definitely after. This was like late in the game. These were like the last two like players left at camp. Last two players who got offered a contract. Honestly, one of the other players that all like what you could have expected out of him. He did a fairly decent job for what he's expecting. I think he played pretty consistently under the new coach, and so I think you would expect him to potentially be back.
Yep, I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
Here's some easy no's. Lucas McNaughton.
Nope.
Goodbye. Randall Leal. Goodbye.
Bye. Derek Dotson.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Lucas Bartlett under contract through 2027.
Yeah.
Still on a pretty cap-friendly deal despite the long-term extension. Rewarded for a very, very strong 2024. A surprisingly strong 2024. I would suspect that based on this being a team that conceded 100 bazillion goals, there will be thoughts in mind at center back that do not necessarily involve him as an every game starter. That's my suspicion. Between him and Kai Rawls will not be your starting center back pair next year.
And again, the one thing to think about this, and I've been talking about GAM. The one sort of is the new cash for rules. It is a lot easier to kind of, and that's an easy thing for a GM to realize, as to like, anything for new coming in the league. Oh, you get money, and like literally it's the best thing in the world because you literally just take the money and tell the player, hey, you're going to St. Louis, goodbye. So like it's literally why it's not a like transfer, because there's all like, if you've played Football Manager, you got to like agree to buy the player, and then you got to get to a contract before that. So it's all like everybody has to agree to everything, and MLS is just like, here's a sack of money, we'll take this player, have a nice day. So So I mean, he's a player I could see. I feel like there's going to be one of these players, one of these like journeyman MLS type players that an ownership group is going to look at this and say, who I lost in the conference semifinals. I wonder if I went and say I gave $400,000 to DC's ownership for Lucas Bartlett, would they say yes?
Yeah, they would.
Would I if I lowballed some of these offers and I could get a guy in here that could actually help my roster compete. So I will be very curious to watch. I think that will tell us a lot about whether this is a longer term project or whether they are really just trying to like fire sale quickly, build it all from scratch. I might be a little more positive if they do go that route, because at least
me too.
It tells me that they are serious, that they're
recognizing of the situation by doing that.
Yeah, because otherwise we're walking in and if we think this roster, if we add 2 DPs or 3 DPs to this roster, we'll get to the top player on the roster. If you keep everybody as it is, if we take all the players from 2025 out, maybe with some exceptions, and we keep everybody from 2026 and 2027 rosters, there's no way this team is going to be higher, even if they absolutely nail 3 DP signings. Let's say Benteke comes back, they get a number 10, they get a winger that's great, or a defender, however they want to split that out. They get all 3 of those players and they all hit and they're all amazing. Then I still think like the best this roster could be is like maybe like 8th or 9th, on a good day, especially with how tough the East is. Like you gotta, there's a lot of cleaning house that has to be done. Coming to some of those players, I don't know if this player would classify that list, but Luis Barraza on the list, 2025, no option years. This would have to be sort of a renegotiation. I think, would he be eligible? Is he eligible for free agency? I want to look up. I know they released free agents. They released the list of like free agent list. I wonder if he would be on that list. I think if he's on that list, I do not think he comes back. So,
you think he'll be valued more somewhere else than he will be here?
I think he will. I think he will look for. I think he will look. He maybe look for a better situation, or say like, no, thank you. I'm ready to maybe move on. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's like, you know what? Like, I have an opportunity to start here. But I think it'll also tell you too what they're thinking about in that goalkeeper situation, because he was by far the best goalkeeper that this team has. So
yep, he played for much of or the entire year with a torn meniscus or injured meniscus. I think you try to keep him if it's reasonable. If the prices are reasonable, I think. Again, similar to the Bartlett. Go ahead.
He is a free agent.
Okay, well, it's up to him, I guess. He is coming off of an injury, and he's coming from a team that conceded the most goals possible. His agent will be out there telling them, yeah, that's everybody else's fault but his, and I would be inclined to agree. But we'll see. I think if you could get him back on a reasonable deal, on a not long-term deal, I don't think you'd want to commit to him as like a 3-year deal with starter money. I think you probably find that elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But then again, maybe we'll be back right exactly where we were in 2023 with multiple second stringers or like part-time first stringers trying out for the role again, which I guess we could do, but I'm kind of tired of this. I would kind of like a dependable, guaranteed number 1, but
I would like this team to be active in the free agent market MLS. Like, I would actually like to see them be aggressive. It's going to be tough, like, to convince players.
Dave Casper, let's go. Do your thing. You know this.
It's going to be tough.
All right. So coming up on one of the 2 buyout spots, I think would potentially be something worth looking at. Dominique Badji in contract through the end of next year with an option for 2027. A player who was brought in times of somewhat need, indefinite need. I think at the end of that was the previous summer window. I think to be given a contract that long, based on where he was coming from, certainly was about like, you really want me? You're gonna have. I don't want to move again. So be sure that I could buy, not rent. I think he was a player that was theoretically to be a lesser like for like replacement when Benteke went down, and I think that he is not the guy that you want to have as far as a contribution from that role, production from that role. If you're serious about it, and I think also it'll be a question about what we think about Benteke for 26. But I think you could probably go elsewhere and get someone a bit more dynamic, a bit more creative, a bit younger, faster. Also, he missed quite a lot of time injured this year, which is something that you basically cannot have in your reserve forward. That's like the one thing. The most important ability is availability for that position, and he didn't have it for much of this year.
It says a lot. He was brought in to be kind of like a Benteke light, and it was very, very quick that they realized that he was really not a Benteke light, and it was not suitable to try to play him as such, and they very quickly tried to formulate other formations sort of around him. Almost as soon as he arrived. He never really filled that role suitably. So yeah, I would say possible buyout.
He'd be a cheaper one of the two.
Yeah. I'm curious who your other player is going to be.
Oh, I think you'll know. I think when we get to him, you'll be like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I think I got it. I can see it. Yeah.
Connor Antley under contract this year with an option for 26. I think you bang that button and bring him back for what he is, for what he costs, and his flexibility and his ability to be a Swiss Army knife on the defense. I think you keep him. Is he a starter? No.
Yeah,
great.
True.
He's cheap. He is very cheap.
Yeah. No, I would say yes. I think you exercise that option, bring him back.
Sorry, something went wrong.
It'll be very curious to see what options here get exercised and what don't. We've got some big ones coming up. Where these are also like the players. I feel like a lot of the players who are on option years are the ones that you have a tougher time asking whether you should bring them back or not. Connor Antley's one. We'll get to some others here up on this list.
Yep.
A lot of the players you look at, there's some players you're like, yeah, no, but a lot like, you even Kojima, I would be like, I don't know, maybe you, if you think there's something there, you do it. Some players are obvious, Dotson, Liao, no, that's all obvious, but it's kind of interesting that there's a lot of players here with options, and you would think like as a team, like any contract that is an option, you're just looking to shed it, you're looking to get it, and that's why I think Connor Antley unfortunately could find himself declined on that option, but we'll see. David Schnegg
under contract for next year with an option year for 27. I think his cost, his cap hit would go down a lot in 27 because now you're no longer paying the prorated transfer fee, right?
So that's it depends. I think it depends on how they broke it out, or
So I would say a player who was hot and cold, I think, throughout the season. I think at the beginning of the season, he was much more dangerous in the attack. Still has not really impressed me with his defensive skills. It's always been much more about what he brings to the table as a wingback, sort of like what Aaron has been traditionally throughout his whole career until maybe this year. So, yeah, I mean, he's obviously here next year. I'd be interested to see how he performs this year with the coach that's in place and the roster that gets built around him.
I think it's going to be very curious because, you talk about how much he brings to the offensive game. That was the idea of having him in here, having Herrera in here, kind of be like those types of like pressing wingers that are going to like join the attack, that are going to give you kind of overloads on one side when you need it. We talk about early in the season, the kind of shift, the sort of 3-back line they kind of shifted to when they were in possession, where either Schnegg stayed back or Herrera stayed back. And another one joined the attack, and kind of trying to play that kind of shift. I think with that's a player, if he is gone next year, or he is bought out, or he is sold, that is a player that it just not going to be a player that fits. That's going to fit the kind of roster structure that the coach is looking for. So,
similarly situated, Kai Rawls, also a TAM player, also under contract for next year, also with an option year for 2027. You think he's a starter? You think he's the first name on the team sheet in the defense?
I mean, right now, yeah, because the team sheet's so bad. But you're. I mean, even with Lucas Bartlett, with Kai Rawls, I think you need to go out and get like a high level TAM type attacker. Kyrolls is very clear was like hit the TAM level. Again, he is also cheap. He is on $300,000. He's TAM level
Yep.
because of his salary, which of course, maybe gets broken up a little bit. So that is the sort of the thing to consider about his salary is, how much of that were they able maybe to buy down with TAM, with GAM, how much is left over. That is the only reason he is listed as a TAM level player. So I don't know. I could see him coming back. I could see him maybe being one of the buyouts as well. I could certainly see that happening with this organization.
Matty Peltola under contract through 2027 with an option year for 2028. An interesting player. A player who played a lot better, I think, under Rennie Weiler at the end of the year. Yep. Started to, I think, assert himself more physically. I saw him assert himself more vocally on the field. I think that's good. I think we would do well to have him. I think he's like a unique player on this roster as far as his ability to contribute on both sides of the ball, a great passing range when it's utilized. Can play pretty dogged defense as well. Can clog up lanes. Is starting to get more physical. I don't know how. I don't know where his head's at about this situation. I think when he came here, it's a completely different situation than when he just started here. So I guess it's just really, is he happy here? Does he want to keep staying here? He's a player with some contract left that could go back to Europe and fetch some sort of return. So there's value there in the contract that you're holding. So it's really up to him. I'd like to see him stay. I think he's valuable. I think he's a good player.
And it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear, like he fell out of favor with Lesane very, very quickly. He was not getting opportunities. He was getting minutes. I think he was expressing a lot of frustration about that. Rennie Weiler comes in, and suddenly he's a locked in starter right next to Cervania. Pretty much started every game towards the end of the season, obviously with some rotation and everything like that. So maybe there's maybe I'll give this another road. I got, and if by summer it's not working out, then I say, hey, I want out. I'm done. I gave it my best shot, and I want to go. I want to go back. So he's a player I would like to see come back. I would like to see him back next season. I would be kind of sad if he was sold. I was very high on him when he came in. I've stayed sort of high on him because I think he brings a lot to the table. So,
agree.
Joao Pedro through 2027.
That's a bad contract. I think this is a bad contract. I think it was desperation. He is a player who, for the position he is on the field, for the salary that he's making, for the contract that we gave him, has to be on the paper a large contributor to the offense. Has to be scoring goals. Has to be getting assists. And he was injured all the time this year. He was injured. He was off the field for much of the time. And when he was on the field, he was never a difference maker, bar one game where he scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
That was his best game. Yeah. And other than that, try to remember another game. It's tough. This was a bad contract given. You gave a guy a proven MLS scorer tenure and money, and I don't think that that's necessarily him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he shows a little promise. He's a player I look at, and I'm like, if you had I think with a lot of these players, and with some of them, they could have been good players. It's just the fact that they did not have sort of those players that can kind of elevate. Where teams could very easily shut down Joao Pedro. Could they if the team had let's say a Miggy Amarone, prime Miggy Amarone number 10, who's taking up most of the attention, maybe that gives more space for Joao Pedro to do it. Right now, as the team is functioned and organized, they're just like, oh, shut down Joao Pedro and, hack him down and we're done. We can shut up shop. They don't have anything else. I think purely based on the fact that I don't think they're going to get much value for him. I think he will be back next year.
Yeah.
Just to see if you do bring in those high ranked designated players, maybe he'll he'll want to come back. But remains to be seen. Aaron Herrera. I'm gonna go on a limb here. I think Herrera will not be here next year.
I agree.
I think he will. There is a team that's going to come in and say, we are willing to pay you. We're willing to make a trade here. The one thing that might scare him away is I think his contract's like $900,000. I think it's approaching $1 million. So that contract might be a barrier.
But you've got a very talented player in a contract year trying to get his big deal in MLS, going from a garbage team to somewhere else where they're probably looking like. I feel like he is going to, when we always talk about players leaving here and having great years like Andy Nahar did in Nashville this year, this is a prime candidate. This is buy low on Aaron Herrera wherever he goes next. I think he's going to have a great year. But I agree with you. I think the way the season has ended, he's checked out, both literally and metaphorically. I think that, I think he was an awesome player. I think when he was good and contributing and the way the setup was built around him, awesome. I think he's just a really good player, but I don't think he wants to be here anymore, and I would not blame him.
Yeah, I was trying to look. Honduras currently top of their group in World Cup qualifiers, so certainly on pace to qualify for the
Guatemala.
World Cup.
He plays for Guatemala. Right?
Oh, so he does play for. Wow, that's bad. Sorry about that, guys.
They're not at the top.
Yeah, they are probably not.
I said Andy Nahar, and that might have thrown you free.
Yeah, that threw
Central
me.
American
Sorry.
loop.
Yeah, they are. Well, they're in a dogfight between Panama. So they still got a chance to qualify, but something to consider. I don't know why I thought he was 100. I apologize. That was not the first time I made a mistake like that. But yes, he is Guatemalan. You are 100% correct. But yeah, I mean, he's a player. Again, he's one of those players. I think if you are an organization, you are inquiring, hey, how much cash do we need to bring to the table? We've got some extra TAM. We're right now we're starting to compete. I think he is a player. If you are an organization that has Champions League, that has Leagues Cup, that has a lot of other competitions you're trying to balance and manage, he's a player that you can afford to bring in, and you can say yes, he's worth $900,000, but he's one of the best right backs in the league. So I could see that. And I could absolutely see that happening. Borzinao, buyout candidate number one.
Oh yeah, with a bullet.
You have to do this.
Yeah.
You have to do this. Like this is if you want me to have, if he is on this roster, if Borzinao is on this roster, some way you got to find some way to get him out of it. If it's sell low, take a freebie, have him find a new place to play. But if worst comes to worst, you do that buyout. I think he'll say, no, give me that buyout. Give me that cash. This is
I would if I were him.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. This is buyout candidate number one. You want to show me you're serious? Get yourself out of this contract. This is like
a completely bad contract, bad player ID, has not materialized in any way. And this is not a player. If you look at other players that we talked about, like maybe they're going to have a good year next year, maybe they'll grow next year. I do not see it, and no one sees it. There might be like one or two like Borzinao truthers this, because there always is for everybody. But you got to move on, whatever it takes.
Yeah, he was not starting towards the end of the year. He was not even really getting much of an opportunity towards the end of the year. This is
the fireable signing for Mackay. It's this one. This is the one. This is all him. And bleh.
Yeah. Yep. Gabriel Pirani got a goal. Yeah, man. This is like beginning of middle last year. I would have said we're done. I think we've seen enough. I think we're let him go back. I fully expect his option to be exercised. I fully expect
both of those years.
Yeah,
26 and 27. I think for sure, man.
Yeah,
he'll be, and it's not because it's very clear what his role in this team is. It's not because it's very clear, that he is going to match even his goal total from this year. It's because of you can't get rid of everybody, and he is a player who, in certain circumstances, can be valuable. And you can work around that. And he was a constant, didn't get injured, was on the field. It's kind of shocking to say this. Knowing me, the world's biggest Pirani hater for years, I'd gladly give him those 2 years. I think he's earned that. I don't think you don't necessarily say that he's earned a guaranteed starting spot on a good team, on like if we manage to blow this whole team up and reconstruct it in a way that becomes suddenly dangerous, I wouldn't say like he's your 10, he's your second striker always, but he is certainly good enough to stay on the team even when they're good, because of the way that he puts the ball in the net. It's a talent. It's a skill. That's a money skill.
It's interesting. I know that Matt Doyle, the conversation in 2024 was Gabriel Pirani versus Ted DiPietro. Obviously, I love Ted DiPietro. He gave me the last moment I feel like I felt maybe the Nashville game was that away game in 2024 was also, so Gabriel Pirani gave me that moment. But that was like I always love it. Nothing makes me happier when like homegrown kids have like their moment and they have like their sort of game scoring moment. But so there's a lot of that backlash that Gabriel Pirani didn't have, but there was like a big discussion about like Gabriel Pirani and Ted DiPietro felt like the type of like same type of player. Like they're both kind of like not really they can
Tweeners.
do some creative stuff, but they're kind of like in that sort of like false nine, kind of like in between the lines, and they can find moments and they can score goals. And I think Matt Doyle came on the side of Ted DiPietro is better than Gabriel Pirani. After this year, Ted did not really have a great year with, and certainly not to the level that Gabriel Pirani had this year. So it's interesting how the role is kind of like reversed there a little bit. And maybe this was a player. Again, this is a guy who also he has people who like you who are like, nope. His numbers did improve this year as far as chance creation, shot creating actions. I think he is a player I could see elevate. You get a number 10 where the whole creative structure is kind of like built around that player, and he's a cog in that kind of machine where maybe he's making the run. Maybe there's a sort of a more like poacher type attacker that he can kind of link up with. I think he could be a good player. It's wild. He's the one player that's just kind of like the whole thing's reversed. Like beginning of the year, I think we thought this was it, and it's all reversed.
Now we have the strongest endorsement is for Pirani, is the wildest, most unexpected outcome of this breakdown.
Yeah.
All right. Another unexpected breakdown. Kim Junong under contract through 2027 with 2 more option years. A player who did not feature other than one game or 2 games for Rennie Weiler?
Yeah, it might have been one.
Something like that.
Yeah.
A player who does not have confidence in himself at the moment, a player who the club does not have confidence in based on his complete ghosting for the rest of the second half of the season. I think what you're likely to see is a loan next year with an option to buy somewhere. Yeah. I don't think anyone would buy him necessarily right now. He's got to build up some value, but I think you ship him out. I don't know what that does. What does that do to the U22 spot if you loan a player out?
I think there has to be like some sort of coverage of that. I think there's an opportunity for a buyer, and I think that buyer will come from South Korea. I think you could very easily I think there would be enough interest in sort of a guy who's still within the national team structure to take that player back and go to South Korea. I think he wants out. I think it's very clear, like, the fact that he's not playing shows that basically he did this whole experiment. He took a chance. It's like, it's not working out. I want to go back home. I want to be comfortable again. So
the guys who brought him here are both gone. So time to go. Another
Clark.
Interesting player. A player who I did not realize was a U22 player. I should have and didn't realize it until we started doing this. Kind of, just he's well traveled for a player in this particular spot. But under contract, his contract's up the end of this year. Option years 2026, 27. He was acquired for cash money. Theoretically, after Rennie Weiler saw him playing against us as Montreal, did we lose that game? I don't remember what happened in that game. It's all running together.
It was a draw, I think. It was a draw.
Maybe 1 or 0-0 or 1-1.
Yeah, something like that.
So he started this game in Atlanta. This might have been his first start. Is that possible? If not his first start, he didn't start all of the games he could have. He
started the game against America. I remember that. So
game, but like as far as like real games that counted,
I think he's had one more. I think he's had a start. I'm pretty sure he had a moment, but
I think virtually guaranteed that the option years are picked up. You didn't make that money move without having the expectation that you were going to pick that up, and I don't think anything changed. If you did this, if you brought this player over, you spent money on him to get 2 starts, and then some substitute appearances, and then you let him go for nothing, I think you would, A, that's dumb, but B, what is this roster? If you brought this player over and you let him go, like, how can you bring in 18 players? Because I'm looking at the number of players under roster. It would be a third of the team would be new. And most of the players in the middle and the top end of the roster would be potentially being moved. So I think he's back.
Yeah. I think, I mean, you spent the money on him, so you, even if it doesn't work out, you kind of got to hold. Other than that, you look even more of a mess than you already do.
Compound your mistakes. Yep.
Yeah, he'll be back. I mean, what it does leave up. I mean, right now so we're saying we're exercising Gabriel Prani's contract. We're exercising Caden Clark's contract. Kim Jung-hong is the one in here for 2027. Like that almost intensifies, like, you have to find a way to get out of that contract, because that is a budget player who isn't good enough to start, and you have to find a way to get. Otherwise, if you're saying you want to go out and find 3 DPs, you can find no other U22 initiative players right now. If you're exercising Clark's option, Pirani's option, and you can't find a landing spot for Kim Jung-hong. So
Pirani is 23 and will be 24 next season. Does that mean his extension
you can hold? So the U22 initiative, you can hold on. You exercise those option years, you can hold on to that spot. The U22, I believe you can hold it until like you're 25, as long as you're not offering them a new contract. So if you're picking up those option years, he still qualifies for the U22 initiative spot.
Then a guaranteed pickup for him. All right. So the big kahuna, the big dollar player, Christian Benteke, designated player, the only one on the roster, contract through December 31st of this year with an option year for 2026. You and I have gone back and forth on this. I think your most recent swing was at the America game when he came in the second half and was dominant and changed the team around. I think this team is in such flux and such sort of throwing up the pieces. I think it depends on, they're going to fill all the 3 spots. That's already been stated multiple times, if you can believe anything. Who knows?
They said that they were going to do that in the summer.
And well, this time I mean it. Mm-hmm. If you have a great number 9 in mind, goal scorer, younger, less injury prone potentially, and that's sort of like in your head that you're going that direction, I could see saying we're going to cut ties. If you think that this is going to be yet another holdover year, that our aspiration, even though we're going to roll over a bunch of our roster, but like realistically, as you look at the players we can bring in, you're still like, I don't think we got the juice. I could bring him back for another year, because I think he's you can project what he's going to do with a reasonable certainty. So I think it's a big asterisk for me. I could go either way with it. It just depends on how they intend to fill those other 2 spots.
I mean, for me, this is the biggest, like, if you want a tea leaf about what they think, I will say this is another player, like, if his option is declined, I'm maybe a bit more. I'm not positive on anything heading into next season. Let me be clear, but I'm a bit more like, okay, they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't have something in mind, or if they were trying to go do something different. And maybe I'm completely wrong. And again, I'm giving some benefit of the doubt to that notion. I do not think Christian Benteke will be back. I think he was on just wave. I don't think he wants to be here anymore. I think it was pretty clear there were certain ways that the team had to sort of get him to sort of be the captain again. I think things soured very, very quickly with the organization. I think with losing Troy Lesane, losing the coach, the sort of influx with everything else, I could very well see Rennie Weiler saying, like, I need to go out and get DP number 10s, DP players that I know can contribute for next season, and those don't involve. And I want to go out and find my player. Christian Benteke is a great player. I think he would want to go back. So we'll see. A lot of this, there's going to be this is going to be probably the most, like, fascinating option time, option exercising sort of release on like what the players are. And who knows, like, I don't know, like before I would say Stephen Goff would probably have the news. He probably have the news right now about like what the team is thinking. He is with Yahoo. He is covering the national team right now. He is not, maybe he'll drop in with some DC blurbs. There's nobody really covering this team. So we probably will
we'll
not
know when the
find out.
release comes out.
Yeah. When is that?
That's
by
when
the
we'll
way?
know. Last
Soon,
year
isn't it?
was the week after the it was the week after the season ended. So we did it fast for the first time last year.
Yeah, so they can start announcing it. So this is my mirror team. The mirror teams have started. Each team. Okay, so CF Montreal, like they've already announced theirs. So they're going to be rolled out. So I think there is a deadline that they have to do it by, and I do not know when that deadline is. So we'll probably get it here very, very soon.
In the past, we would do it on the deadline day every time, even though it didn't make a difference. So if my numbers are correct, we are looking at about 17 players that you and I both think will be back out of the entire roster. So that's a lot of turnover.
It's a lot of turnover, but, you know, again, the turnover, a lot of this, there's a lot of muck that is going to have to be, if you want to get rid of Kim Jung-hong, you got to find a suitor for him. Got to find some way to get him out of your roster. If you want to get rid of Boris now, you either got to do a contract buyout or you got to figure something else out. This is why I would have been more for just giving Mackay another year and at least letting some of these other contracts like run their course. I think next year you're hopeful for 2024. That is your hope. Your hope that you are entering the last game of the season. You're not in the playoffs, but you have a chance maybe to win, maybe controlling your destiny to win and make the postseason. That's what you're hoping for next year. I don't think you're hoping for much more than that. There's a lot that, and if we had an experienced MLS GM, a guy who's able to do this type of stuff, I would feel more confident about their ability. I don't. It's probably Dave Casper, the one running the show right now, as far as like trying to make these moves. Rennie Weiler doesn't have any connections. Rennie Weiler's here to like evaluate talent and to maybe bring in some international guys he might know. Same with Sogert. That's why they're here. They're here to do those types of things. None of them have know any of the GMs. They have no connections as far as like players. They are probably, I guarantee you, they have probably watched a grand total of like 0 minutes before they became interested in the job in Major League Soccer. So that's what you're dealing with. That is the monumental task in front of this roster.
So we are in the bottom third of the league in TAM or GAM left over from this year. For whatever it does roll over. The funniest thing is, I just looking at it. San Diego, a team that did they win the supporters? They won the West. They had like the highest point total for an expansion team ever, or something like that.
Yep.
They've got 3.4 million in GAM rolling over. And who's the other team that was surprising to me? Had 4 million. Minnesota has $4.5 million in GAM. No, almost $5 million in GAM. And that's a team with a roster with 2 DPs, 3 U22s, and 5 TAM players. Lots of unavailable on loans in their roster, but I would say if you were a team that had a new GM and a new coach come in that felt like this needed a lot of changes, I'd much more want to be Minnesota than us. We've got $700,000. Minnesota can do what Rennie Weiler wishes he could do probably with this roster and just like completely flip it.
Yeah. There is, one thing I will say is GAM is becoming, I think is going to start to become more of a salary cap type mechanism. There's going to be less sort of GAM sort of flowing around. You'll probably see it for like the occasional, like swapping out the international slot, swapping out the draft pick. We forgot to mention, this is like DC United finishes the wooden spoon. And I'm pretty sure this is like the first year that they will actually get the number 1 draft pick. I feel like we always would finish last in the league and we'd always pick like 3rd or 2nd because there was an expansion team that was in the head of us. No expansion this year. So we do get that number 1 draft pick. So we have a chance at maybe getting a good talent. I don't know. Travis Clark, please, buddy, tell us who we should be watching, who we should be watching. So maybe we'll actually bring him onto the show since DC will have the pick of the pudding as far as that goes. Wanted to I want to say Brendan Cartwright. So ownership seemed really jazzed about to go after Premier League talents, and it's mostly worked. Okay, yeah, sure. Do you think Rennie Weiler
33%.
or Sogut will might look more towards Switzerland or thereabouts, or where do you expect our talent to come from next year? I would expect it to be Europe.
Yep.
I would think it would have to be Europe. I don't think we're going to be bringing in a lot of like South American talents. I have no idea. I have no idea the level of talent we're going to get in. I don't know like where Rennie Weiler fits as far as like, do players want to come play for him? Is he an attractive player? He has been around the block. I don't know. I have no idea. No clue.
Yeah, I don't want to pretend either. I think that's the problem with like a lack of trust plus optimism. Like, I don't know. I don't think anyone's like, I have always wanted to play for Rennie Weiler. All from my youth. I remember I watched his stint at Servette, or from Yokohama Antlers, or where did he play in where was Belgium? Was it Feyenoord? No.
It was Anderlecht.
Anderlecht. So the team that you might have actually been able to see from another country. But yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't. I imagine they're going to go for names because they desperately need to capture the casual fan in the area, because the long-term passionate fan has vacated the premises. So that's why I think they go to Europe for names.
What kind of soccer-related therapy do you recommend until the next podcast episode?
Well, funny you should mention that. So this is our plan. We'll say it here because it makes kind of sense. This is our last episode of the year on your normal feed. We needed a break. There's nothing else to talk about for the most part, and I think everyone needs a break. I think you need a break. Unless you're a Patreon, and our plan is to continue to do shows in the off season for the Patreons, probably every other week. And I think, we'll see what they materialize on, and I'll try to, whatever day that Ted and I record, we'll try to release it on the same day so you can expect it at a certain time, probably Monday. Probably make it try to keep it like for you. But if you're a Patreon, the $5 and up tier, we'll have a show for you. Who knows what it'll be about? Probably about soccer, but probably about other stuff too.
Yeah. We will, and we've been asked about, are we going to cover the Spirit? We have stepped back. There's Hey Spirits. I think we recognized in our busy life, trying to track two teams, trying to watch the games to give the Spirit and I still want to keep them kind of, in a periphery mirror, but I think we fast realized that I didn't want to, do the Spirit and sort of half-ass it and not give it the sort of depth.
It's disrespectful to not be as engaged as we need to be to actually be able to analyze and have thoughts that are of any value. So
and we did it because there really was not, there was not sort of the coverage that was out there. There is now a great podcast, Hey Spirits, that do in depth with the Spirit. Yep. And I think we decided for our own kind of stuff just to take a step back and bear the load with DC United. So we did not want to be disrespectful and I felt like a lot of our shows, if you listen to some of our shows, we were not as in depth about the Spirit as we could have been.
We had been in the past.
Yeah. Will we still talk about the Spirit? Absolutely. I think the Patreon show might be a good place for us to drop that stuff in, especially if they go on a run as far as the playoffs are concerned. If they make a run to the NWSL Championship, we will absolutely be there to watch it and cover it. I am so excited because they are in, and in the CONCACAF as well. I am so excited because they are in Football Manager 2026. It'll probably be actually my beta save. I'm figuring out that might be what I fire up as my beta save, just because it'll be fun to experience that. And maybe there'll be some Football Manager content. I don't know. I've done that in the past. Maybe I'll figure out if I can make DC successful in 2025.
If Ted can't do it, nobody can.
Exactly. All right. So we got any other question? Here's what are the actual concrete actions the org would have to take to start regaining your confidence?
They would have to sell the team. I believe for me to trust it. I think for confidence, was that the word he used?
Yep.
I would say 3 years of increasing and consistent success. I think better and more consistent engagement with fans and more honesty. I think better. That's the most important thing. There's other stuff that matters to me, like what their media presence looks like. Like that's where we're in that space. So like, what are you doing on your website, on social media? How are you being exciting or engaging? It's not super important, but like all the stuff that you've left to wither and die, you got to bring it back, and you got to keep it there, and you got to improve, and you got to have ambition, and not just be satisfied with being at the bottom of the pile, but like not actively embarrassing. I think that's what I would need.
And ambition can come in many forms. It does not have to be spend the most money.
Nope.
It can be exactly what, and again, I use Philly. Philly are the Supporters Shield champions. They are the best team in the league. They had the best record in the league. They are an organization that had a down year, got rid of the coach. A lot of people wondered whether that was the right call. They have trusted they have trusted their vision. They have trusted everything about their organization, and their structure that they have built is very sound and able to sort of bring in players that they've been able to be successful. And that's really like, I want to know, I have no clue what the plan is right now. It feels just as scattershot as it always is. What are we going to be in 2020? What is this team going to be? What is this organization going to be? Is it anyone Rennie Wilder wants? Okay, that's fine, I guess. I think Rennie Wilder's a competent manager. Is he a fantastic over-the-top manager? No. I mean, he's had some success. He's shown he can build a program. He did it in Egypt. He does seem to like go after teams that are really good. This is the first team, I think, where we can successfully say he is chasing a team that is like bottom of the barrel. And can he do a sort of a recreation reclamation project. Thank you. I am not using my words. It's 10 o'clock right now. It's been a long show.
Yeah, we did a 90-minute show for the worst team in MLS. So
yeah,
you're welcome, guys. We wanted to go long since, like I said, this is the end. This is the end of the road for many of you, and we'll be talking to the rest of you, the loyal crew, the cash paying. Listen, if you don't want to buy season tickets for next year and you're thinking, where can I reprogram these DC United dollars? I know just the place, patreon.com/RFK Refugees.
And the best thing is it's cheaper. We're so much cheaper than
much cheaper. And we're not going to lie to you. We'll never lie to you. We will tell you the truth always. You know what I think we might do, Ted? I don't want to commit to this fully, but if things get bad enough, I think I might do a So Good book club in the off season that we discuss the books on the Patreon shows. We'll think about that. We'll see how desperate we get.
Yeah, do a So Good book club. Oh my gosh.
Hopefully they're not long. If they're short, we could do it.
But again, I want to thank everybody. I put out a call for questions, and we get flooded with notifications and emails. We get flooded with info from you guys. You guys are the reason to keep doing the show. I've always talked about myself as wanting to be positive about the team, because it's like, why would I do a show about a team I have no hope? This is the toughest as far as like trying to have some hope or trying to do that type of thing, because I still want to have hope that there can be success for DC United. I think the owners should sell the team. I think they've shown they cannot run a competent organization, but that's not going to happen short of finding out something horrible about the ownership group. They're probably stuck here for the long haul. So it's you guys that kind of keep me going. That want to talk about this team. So
yep, I think that's right. I think the community that we sort of built around this show is the thing that keeps me going. It's no longer necessarily love for the team or the players. Mm-hmm. It's really love for the people that have stayed around this show. We have pretty much only been a show while this team has been varying degrees of bad. I would say
two playoff appearances, 2018 and 2019, and nothing else since.
So I would say 80% of our shows have been reviewing, like, if not in the moment bad soccer, in the aggregate bad soccer. So you really gotta like us a lot and what we have to like stick that out. And there are people who don't follow the team anymore that still listen. I love you the most because you guys are super sickos. So yes, Ted and I have at various points in this season talked to each other and like, man, I don't know anymore. I feel like this is killing me. But we always find a way to like have something interesting to talk about and fill the hour, or in this case, the 90 minutes. We like talking to each other about this team. God help us. And we love talking to you about, what's going on and how you feel about it. So
yeah,
we keep on. We'll keep on doing our thing until I don't know at this point. What if not this, Ted? If it isn't this, I think we might just do this until we're retired and dead. I think that's really kind of where we're at.
We'll be the Mark Fishkin role and over at Red Bulls, and maybe then they get tons of access from that team. And so
Mark Fishkin will be 70 years in while we're doing this.
Exactly. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Thank you again, guys, so much for listening. And we will catch you guys
in 2026.
In 2026, if you're not a Patreon. Vamos.
Vamos.